Hey everyone, I'm Heba and welcome back. Today I'll be talking about the new eyeshadow palette by Sydney Grace, the Enduring Love palette. And what's so special about this palette is that it comes in two different palettes, a light palette and a deep palette. So pretty much most of the shades are the same except for the mattes and one of the shimmers. One is lighter than the other. And of course, I went ahead and got both of them, the light and the deep. I did 3 different looks using both of these palettes, and that will come later, but let me go ahead and show the palettes to you. And this one is the light one. So there you go, that is the light palette. And here is the deep palette. Let me show them to you side by side, and hopefully without the glare. There we go. So here you have the light palette, and this one's the deep palette. This palette sells for $52 and they're sold out right now, but they are accepting back orders, pre-orders right now. So if you go to their website, you can go ahead and order it. And it depends on the arrival of the palette case, and it's a tin case. So it depends on when they get this from the distributor, and I believe they'll get it in the beginning of February. At least that's what it says on their website. So this is a permanent palette, so even if it sells out, they'll be making more, which is a good thing. And the Enduring Love palette was made to pay tribute to the greatest love stories of history, and you will see that in the reflection of the names of the shades. Both the light and the deep palette, they are both cool tone palettes, and you get 15 shades with a mixture of mattes, metallics, and shimmers. I like the placement of the shadows because, again, it's 15 shades. So each row has 5 shades, and there are 2 couples in each row. The first 2 and the last 2, the first 2 and the last 2, and so on. And in the center, those are love emotions. So I like how she did that. And the first 2 couple, you have Romeo and Juliet from Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Then you have the emotion devotion. And let me read what she says about it. Each of our couples was deeply devoted to each other. So that's why she chose the name Devotion. Then you have Darcy and Elizabeth from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. The next row you have Albert and Victoria, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. And in the center is Passion. And let me read what that one says. What's a good romance without a little passion? And the last couple in that row, Boaz and Ruth from the Bible, the Book of Ruth. Bottom row, you have John and Abigail. John Adams was the 2nd president of the United States, and it was said that they'd written over thousands of love letters to each other. The next emotion is Cherish, and she says to protect and care for. And the last couple, Robert and Deanna, and I love this. It is Heather's, who is a co-owner of Sydney Grace. It is her parents. And let me read to you what she says about it on her website. This isn't a couple you'll find in the history books or a novel, but their history is our history. These shades were named for our parents, and you can read more about their story in their Instagram post, and I'll try to link it down below if you want to read more about Deanna and Robert. Again, I bought the light and the deep palette. I know, I probably shouldn't have, but I went ahead and did it, and I'm going to swatch these for you row by row, with the light palette being first and then the deep palette being second. So the first row you have Romeo, Juliet, Devotion, Darcy, Elizabeth. So you can see the difference in shades between Romeo, Juliet, and Darcy. The 2 mattes and the only 1 shimmer that is different. Now I do have to say that the shade Juliet in the light palette, it does tend to go ashy for me. Now the second row, you have Albert, Victoria, Passion, Boaz, and Ruth. And you can see the difference in the matte shades Victoria and Passion, and I do have to say that both of those in the light palette does look a little ashy on my skin tone. Then on the bottom row, you have John, Abigail, Cherish, Robert, and Deanna. Again, with the mattes in that row, you see the difference in the light and the dark palette with Cherish and Robert. The shade Robert, there is a slight difference, but it's not as big of a difference as the other matte shades. Well, all right, let me go ahead and show you the 3 looks that I created, including this one. And in the first look, I used only shades from the light palette. And in the second look, I did one eye using the light palette and one eye using the dark palette. And with this look, I used only the dark palette. Thought it might be fun doing it that way. Well, all right, let me show you the looks and I'll see you on the other side. All right, let's go ahead and start playing. And with this look, I'm going to use all the shades from the light palette. This one right here. I just want to see how these shades would work with my skin tone, if it'll look too ashy or if it'll just blend in with my skin. But let's try using the light palette. All right, got my Chikuhodo blending brush, and I'm going to go in with this shade right here, Juliet. And then I'm just going to place that above my crease. Okay, it's a real pretty, like a peachy color on my skin. And as you can see, it blended out very well. Love Sydney Gray shadows. And this one's not bad for a transition shade, just to give you that, that gradient effect. Next, I'm going to go in with Victoria, and I'm going to use the Sonia G Blender Pro. And place that on the outer corner first, just to see the color. And then just kind of bring it in just slightly lower from Juliet. Okay, you can kind of see it just a little bit, but not too much, but it still looks good. Okay, I'm just going to keep using Victoria and just kind of build that shade up. Just again in my crease, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way to the inner corner of my eye. Okay, going back with the first brush and the first shade Juliet and just kind of blend them together. Now I want to try this shade in the middle, Passion, and I'm using the flat shader brush by Sonia G. It's the Builder Pro, and I'm going to concentrate that in the outer corner of my eye. Okay, I do have to say that this shade does look a little ashy on my skin tone. So we'll just keep that in the outer corner. Yeah, I have a feeling if I did put this shade in my crease, it will just look a little ashy. That's just how I see it on my skin tone. I'm going to use this purple shade, Abigail, and I'm just going to place that one in the center of my eye and using my finger. Oh, wow, look at that. That is pretty. Very pigmented. Then I'm just going to press it just in the center of my eye. Wow, that is a pretty purple. Okay, I'm going to use this shade Romeo and pop that one in the inner corner of my eye. Again, using my finger. Wow, that is some high shine right there. And just place that in the inner corner of my eye. I'm going to go back in with Abigail just to kind of blend those two together. I think I went a little too much on this side. All right, I hope I didn't mess up this look. So I'm kind of meeting today with the new family, so I hope I don't scare them off. Going back with the flat shader brush, and I'm going to go in with Passion again and just kind of build up the outer corner of the eye. But the colors are blending very nicely. They're not mudding up with each other. But yeah, I do have to say that Passion, the one in the middle here, is a little bit ashy on my skin tone. Well, all right, I think that's all the shades I'm going to use with this look. And as you can see, there's no fallout here on my cheeks. The only thing is, you can see the shadow here, but that's just from using my finger. Well, all right, let me finish putting the rest of my makeup on, do my hair, and I'll be right back. And here is the finished look, and let me let you know what I put underneath my lash line here. I put Juliet, Victoria, and Passion, these three matte shades, and I just, blended them out underneath my lash line. I do have to say, using the light palette's not bad. You can see the different colors that I use in my crease, and I'll come up closer so you can see. The only issue that I do have is this one in the middle, Passion. It is a little ashy on my lids, the outer corner here. But let me go ahead and come up so you can see it a little bit better. All right, I hope I'm in frame here because I can't see, but do like that purple shade. And the different colors that I use in my crease, you can still see them. But the one Passion that I use in the outer corner does look a little ashy on me, but it does look pretty. I do like it. It's not bad. I mean, the shades that I use from the light palette's not bad, except for, I keep saying this Passion, it does look a little ashy on me. But when I blend it out with the other shadows, it's not looking too bad. And I know I probably should have brought that out a little bit more to give me that cat eye effect with this look, but live and learn. Let's go ahead and see what I come up with the next look. With this look, I'm going to use the light palette on this side and the deep palette on this side. So here's the light palette for this side and the deep palette for this side. Full disclosure here, I will have to use the same brushes for the light and the deep palette because I don't have two of the same brushes in Sonia G because they are pricey. So I do have this cleansing cloth right here. It's like a microfiber. So before I dip into the palette, I'm just going to run the brush over this cloth right here to clean it off and then go from there. I hope it'll clean off the brushes before I go into each palette, but I just want to let you know I will be cleaning the brush before I switch the palettes. All right, this is the light side, and I'm going to go in with this shade Juliet using the Chikuhodo blending brush. I know I used this shade yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and use it again today. And then here's Juliet in the deep palette. I probably do need to build this one up, whereas this one, just one swipe, and there's my transition shade. So let me go ahead and build the lighter side up a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with Darcy using the Sonia G Blender Pro brush, and then just placing that first on the outer corner and then bringing it in underneath and just bringing it all the way inside. I mean, look at that. That was just one dip into the shadow. All right, I did add a little bit more, and I'm just looking down so I can see where I need to place the shade in my crease. That makes it easier for me. Going in with the deep, and here is Darcy right there. And just to let you know, I did kind of get a Sharpie pen and just put medium here. Probably should have used D for deep, but I don't know why I used M. But at least I can tell the difference between the two palettes. You can pretty much tell the difference from looking at the shades, but just from the outside. Okay, using the same brush but clean, and placing the deeper Darcy in the outer corner, and then bringing that inside in the crease. Okay, I'm going to build it up some more. Not that it needs it, but since I did it with the light side, I'm going to go in with the deep side. All right, what do you think, guys? Can you see the difference in the two shades? Yeah, this one is a little bit deeper, but this one does give you a little bit of a subtle look without it looking too ashy, which is good. Now, I know I used the shade Romeo in the first look. I used it in the inside corner of my eye, but these two are different in the light palette and the deep palette. So I'm going to place them in or on my lids. And I'm not going to use the brush for that. I'm just going to use my finger. I mean, you can see that is a little bit brighter. It does have a little bit of a shimmer to it. Yeah, that one does give you a brightness to it. And it is a little bit more on the pinky side. Now I'm going to go in with Romeo in the deep palette. Oh, that one's pretty. That's more of a peachy tone. Ooh, I like that one. All right, yeah, you can see a difference between these two shades. Now for the outer corner of my eye, I'm going to go in with this shade Boaz. This is the light palette. And I'm going to use the Builder Pro by Sonia G and just kind of place that, build that up in the outer corner of my eye. Oh, probably should have tapped it off. That's okay. It will blend out. We'll blend it out. Okay, I hope it doesn't look too ashy now since I'm blending it out. Okay, going in with the first brush and going in with the first shade Juliet and just kind of blend everything out so there'll be no harsh lines. And then going in with Romeo again and just kind of pop a little bit of more of that shimmer shade in the middle of my lid. All right, I do have to say that Boaz is a little bit ashy on my lids. What do you think, guys? All right, going in with Boaz in the deep palette and doing the same thing. Okay, yeah, this one is a little bit deeper for me. Again, going with the first brush and using Juliet just to kind of blend everything out. Those harsh lines right there. All right, let me finish putting the rest of my makeup on and we'll see how this looks. All right, and here is the finished look. And let me know down below which side you like. If you like the shades I use from the deep palette or the shades that I use from the light palette. I myself, for me, I kind of like the deeper look better. And my husband was home and he liked the lighter side better. So I guess it's all preference. The shade Romeo that I used on my lids, I think they're two totally different colors. One, as you can see, it's a little bit lighter and maybe has a little bit of a pink tone. This one has a bit more of a peachy tone. So I wouldn't say it's lighter or darker. Here it is, I swatched it on my hand. So here's the lighter Romeo and here's the deeper Romeo. So yeah, the lighter one does have a little bit of a pink shift to it and brighter, whereas the deeper Romeo is more peachy in tone. Now for the other shades, again, I prefer the deeper look better than the lighter look because especially Boaz, it does look a little ashy on my skin tone, whereas on the deeper side, it looks deeper. This is a cool tone palette, so most of the shades will look a little ashy on me, but I do like the concept of having a deeper, cooler tone palette because then I won't run into that ashiness whenever I use those colors. All right, there you go. There is the lighter palette, and then there is the deeper palette. But yeah, I do like the deeper side better than the light side. That's only with the shades that I used on my lid, the Boaz and Romeo. Now for the other shades that I use in my crease, Juliet and Darcy, I kind of like them both for a transition shade. So for me, I like them both. You know, if I want to lighten it up a little bit to give more of a gradient effect, I can go for the light palette. Or if I really want to go for a deeper transition shade, I can go for the deeper palette. I mean, this shade Romeo in the light palette, I could probably use it as a brow highlight or even like I used in the last look, an inner corner highlight. But to put all over my lid, probably not. I may, you know, probably pop this shade in the middle of the eye look if I'm using a deeper or a darker eyeshadow for my lid to kind of pop it up. So I could probably use it for that. Well, all right, let me do one more look and I'll be using the dark palette for that look, and I can already tell you which shade I want to use from the dark palette. I want to use Deanna. I think that's going to be a beautiful shade all over my lid. So hopefully I'll do that look next. Now for this look, I'm going to go in using only the deep palette. Pretty much going to use the same brushes, and I'm going to go in with this shade right here in the bottom, Cherish. And placing that in my crease and above my crease for the transition shade. Pretty much, you know, what I usually do. Now using the Blender Pro by Sonia G, I'm going to go in with this shade, Robert. Placing that at the outer corner just to see the shade and the pigmentation. And then bringing that inside in my crease just below the first shade I used, Cherish. And bringing that all the way inside my the inner corner of my eye. Going back in with the first brush and the first shade and just kind of blending out the harsh lines there. All right, now I'm going to use my finger and use this beautiful metallic shade, Deanna, and put that on my lid. I'm going to put that in the middle of my lid and leaving the inner corner empty so I can place something a little bit lighter just to kind of brighten my eye up. But that is a beautiful metallic shade and just goes on so nice. Now I'm going to go in with this shade, John, and place that in the inner corner of my eye just to kind of, wow, brighten it up a little bit, and I think it will. So let me just press that in the inner corner of my eye. Oh yeah. Kind of digging these kind of looks now where I just pop in something light in the inner corner of my eye. And going in with Deanna again just to kind of blend them out together. Now using the flat shader brush and going in with Boaz to kind of deepen out the outer corner of my eye. And then going in with the first brush and the first shade and just kind of blending it out above my crease. Well, all right, let me go ahead and put the rest of my makeup on and we'll see how this one looks. And here is the finished look. It is a nice smoky eye look and I kind of like it. Let me come up close so you can see the different shades. Love Sydney Grace eyeshadows and love that shade Deanna. I did get both palettes so I can do this video so you can see how it will look on my skin tone, but to be all honest, I don't think I needed the light palette. The shades in the light palette were a little bit too ashy on my skin tone. Especially Juliet, Victoria, Passion, and Cherish. Those were a little bit on the ashy side for my skin tone. I'll still use the shades from the light palette, but I think I prefer the deep palette for my skin tone. But that's not to say if you're my skin tone or darker, if you like the light palette, then go for it. But for me, I prefer the deep palette. And also, Abigail in the light palette was a little bit brighter to me than the one in the deep palette. So you can see Abigail is a little bit brighter than the one in the deep palette. And also, I love the cover of the palette with the pretty lace and the cool tone color of it. Yeah, this is a pretty palette, inside and out. Well, all right, I sure hope you enjoyed this video of the Enduring Love palette by Sydney Grace, the light and the deep. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.